inside here, okay? But for most people, for me to work in here, get up over in here might seem a little invasive, okay? And they tend to want to contract or to guard or to protect, all right? So that's one issue. The other, because I have to work between the legs. The other issue is if I want to work the male side, okay, I'm kind of at a mechanical disadvantage. It's kind of hard to get in here from the side. I have to use a lot of muscular strength. So I don't have an access issue on the outside, okay? I have an angle issue, okay? It's not efficient pressure-wise. So whenever we work at mechanical disadvantage, the only way we have to function strongly is to compensate with muscular contraction. Right? Well, that compensation for mechanical disadvantage through muscular contraction is the genesis of occupational disability. That's why eventually that technique is going to win. It's going to beat us. Because we're going to lose our hands or lose our shoulders or lose our elbows. Carpal tunnel, tennis elbow, frozen shoulder, military neck, etc., low back issues, etc., etc. That's what that looks like when you work constantly at mechanical disadvantage over a period of time. Now on the client side, trust me, supine savasana is a beautiful posture. It's a classic yoga pose, one of the oldest therapeutic postures. But when I'm facilitating the therapy, it has some limitations, right? But now I'm thinking, okay, how can I get more advantage on these extreme energy lines, the most female energy lines on the interior and the most male energy lines on the exterior? Well, I just go, please turn on your side. So we cross the leg over and we turn on the side, and now all of a sudden what was kind of challenging, which engendered sort of a defensive response or protective or guarding response, going, for example, on the most female lines, I don't get any of it in this position. It does not feel vulnerable. I don't get any of it in this position. All right, the mechanical disadvantage I had going to the hard, and one thing about the extreme male lines, and this, of course, is the IT band, tensor fasciae lata, and the iliotibial band running down the outside of the leg here. It's very hard. This is strong as steel, as thick as your thumb kind of tissue. And a lot of hands-on therapists wreck their hands, literally destroy their thumbs, trying to break loose scar tissue in this IT band and other kinds of things, literally. Now, what does it mean if I literally destroy my own hands trying to be helpful for you?
It's a martyr.
It's like a martyr complex, okay? And I've had so many therapists as clients and so many students who come into this class because they were no longer able to use their hands because they had destroyed their hands doing so-called deep tissue and doing hard penetrating work with their thumbs and whatnot. Literally crippled, no longer able to use their hands. And so I'd have to show them, and Julie remembers several of these students, I have to show them how to do entire sessions with their feet, with their elbows and forearms, because they can no longer even use their hands, and they became disabled because they were trying to help people, but they were taught to work at mechanical disadvantage. Okay? And they rode that puppy right into the hospital. Okay? All right, but now here we are. Remember, we have a body politic, multiple lifetimes of experience in practically bringing therapy to people. Multiple lifetimes of experience, right? My teacher, my teacher's teachers, 36 generations. All right. So rather than strain to get access to these lines, well, no, we change the position. We go into the posture. It gives me the access to the line. And that's what's beautiful about the sideline position. And gives me access to nice rotations, and it's just good for that. Extreme male and female line access is what we get so well in the sideline position. Now we go to the prone. So roll on your stomach. Prone Savasana. Prone Savasana. Face down Savasana. Well, Savasana is actually one of the 3 or one of the 4 oldest referenced yoga postures. I did a survey of yoga literature, of ancient Vedic literature, yoga literature, for a couple of things. One of the things I did was, it's a couple of years ago, I looked for every reference in any piece of yoga literature of any kind that mentioned the word chakra, for example. That was a research project that I did. I did it in India first, and then I continued it here. I even went to the Smithsonian in Washington to look at rare Indian manuscripts, which are not even in India, they're in Washington, D.C., and to look through these manuscripts for references to the word chakra, okay? Translations and transliterations from before the turn of the century and so on. But I also looked for the word asana, and I wanted to see what the ancient yoga literature actually referenced as far as what were the key postures or the key asanas 2,000 years ago or 3,000 years ago. And I was amazed. I was literally amazed to find that in the oldest yoga literature, there was only reference to a couple of postures. There weren't hundreds of postures. There weren't thousands of postures referenced. Like, you would think that there would have been lists of all of these, you know, like Iyengar or Bikram. Or it would have been like the 500 yoga postures, you know? Nuh-uh. Nope, nope, nope. In fact, in the oldest literature, what it says is, if the yogi performs these asanas, Savasana, face up, face down, okay? Forward bend, backward bend, and shoulder stand, one twisting pose. The yogi, by doing these poses every day, will attain the full, will balance the chakras and will obtain the full natural length of their life and the full natural potential of their expression as a human being. Ta-da! That's it. It says so. Face up, face down, forward bend, backward bend, stand on your shoulders, twist around once or twice, and there you go. That's yoga. All right. You don't see these lists of hundreds of yoga postures, and guess what? Until when? 20th century. Victorian.
Now the 5 Tibetan rites.
Yeah. See, that's 5.
It's 5.
Yeah,
and they
that's
tell
not
you
yoga.
if you just do that.
That's the Tibetan.
Okay.
It's not
But
India.
is there like Ayurvedic influence?
I don't know.
Oh no. Okay.
It's Tibetan. That's all I know. But you don't see it in yoga. You know, there's no reference to them in the Charaka Samhita or the Atra Veda, or, you know, so those are Tibetan. I think they're great, but I think, you know, that's what they are. But anyway, it's still 5 techniques, okay? So you don't see these hundreds and hundreds of techniques until the Victorian age. Literally, the Westerners show up. And see, we need variety. Right? Don't we get bored easy, you know? We get bored easy. Now, I'm not saying that all of these variations of postures didn't exist, okay? That's not what I'm saying, because I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. I'm just saying in the yoga literature, they're not there. There's no list of them, there's no drawings, there's no pictures, there's no references. All the references to all the variety of what we think of as yoga asanas are 20th century. Victorian era. That's when you first start to see these things. Yeah.
Wasn't yoga just breathing and meditation to begin with until, I'm sure, like that, around that era?
I think that there was more than that, but only in very specialized schools, which were considered secret schools, which were the tantric schools.
Okay.
I think outside of the tantric schools, up until the Victorian era, yoga was mostly meditation and devotion and psychological teachings. But the physical teachings were considered secret, okay, and weren't openly taught. That's my understanding, okay. In Thai, the physical teachings were kept by the monks, okay. So they weren't secret. It was just only the monks learned them. So it wasn't really a secret. It was just only the monks learned them. And how it got into the lay public was, well, because in Thai system of Buddhism, you can become a monk at any time, you can come and go at any time. So unlike the Tibetan and the Japanese Zen and so on, when you take a vow to become a monk, it's not a lifetime vow. I want to become a monk, so I go to the temple. They accept me as a novice, and I could, if, after a month, if I'm like, you know what, I need to get laid, I just go to the abbot and say, you know what, been here a month, I need to get laid, and you know, I met this girl while I was doing my alms this morning, and she wants to go dancing, and in this little bar, and it's got whiskey, and the abbot will go, okay, cool, all right, so we will have you formally renounce your vows in front of a group of people, and so you do that. You formally renounce your vows in front of the group, and they cut you loose. And there's no like, you're now a bad person. You were a good person this morning, but this afternoon you're a bad person. And so they don't do that. But now you go party with your girlfriend and hang out and go get your dance groove on, and you know, but then you got a hangover the next day, and you feel kind of guilty because you know you're not really working on yourself, and she wasn't that hot anyway, and you were just horny, and you know, I got to get back to the Buddha, and so you come back on Wednesday and you say, you know what, you know, it didn't work out, and really I don't have a place to stay anyway, so can I come back? Can I come back? And they will actually say, oh yeah, whatever, okay, you know.
They'll take you back.
They'll take you back, and you could do that your whole life. Okay. Now people that are not flippant like that. You know, I'm exaggerating. Yes, I am. Okay. People generally take it very, very seriously, but people do go in for a month, come out for a year, go back for a year, come out for a year, go back for 5 years, come out for a year, go in for 10 years. That is a pattern that I've seen, and I know people who've done that. All right?
Can women and men do it?
Huh?
Women and men?
Well, there are no women monks. Okay, women are nuns, and in the Thai Buddhist Sangha, officially women are not voting members of the Sangha officially. So there's a misogynistic aspect to Thai Buddhism. All right, a lot of people don't like me to say that, but it's actually true. Now there are women nuns, but they're considered lay practitioners. They have no voting rights. They can't own property. They can't have any vote or privilege on what goes on with the temple or what have you. And if they do, and if a monk elevates the nun to that position or gives him that deference, then they will actually rescind his privileges, and they'll take his robes and kick him out of the temple. Okay, so that's, you know, there's no perfect system. When I talk about Thai Buddhism, I'm not talking about it like it is some ultimate perfect system, or even Buddhism in general. There's misogyny in Buddhism. Okay, less than in some other systems. Not as dramatic as in some other systems, but you know, truthfully, it's there. Okay. But the Thais justify it this way. They say the reason why women are not monks is because women are born more spiritual and more grounded and are more in tune with the mother than men. That in fact the monastery was never meant for women. It was invented for men who are by nature violent. Okay? And the purpose, this is the Thais, this is what they say, the Thai philosophy is that that's why men are monks and women are not, is because all women need to do is act according to their nature, and they will be as good as a monk. All they have to do is act according to their true nature, whereas men have to be taught how not to be violent. And that's the primary function, right? Of course, you know, there's a lot of